We got to just start honoring people right now. People who have done important things in Skid Row. People who are beloved by the Skid Row community. Look at who that person is. It's Clancey Cornell.
I remember sitting on my bed, about to graduate after 4 years of school in New York. What the hell am I going to do with my life?
What the hell am I going to do with my life?
You know, I just happened to be watching the documentary Lost Angels. Skid Row is my home, over at the Lamp Art Program, and this was featured in the documentary.
Oh, I'm moving back to LA, where I'm from, and that sounds like a really cool thing to get involved in.
I want to get involved.
Go.
Yeah.
The first thing I did was email Hayk. Hey, do you need any volunteers?
The first event I volunteered at was the LA Poverty Department.
Festival for all Skid Row artists.
I set up chairs for the festival. I spent most of the time at the t-shirt table with Stephanie and Suzette, who was a big first introduction to the community.
I had focused my entire education on radical archives and the importance of preserving community stories that would otherwise not be preserved. The theme of my thesis was how different artists had used historical archives in their works of art to address histories of trauma and misrepresentation.
I started to meditate on the fragility of history. Without this type of intervention, the preservation of certain stories is lost. Things can just get forgotten.
I was deep in the academic spiral about how cool that it was. And then I end up finding that literally happening here through the LA Poverty Department. And I saw my first LAPD play, Chasing Monsters from Under the Bed. Afterwards, I started chatting with Austin, and I asked him,
How can I get involved with the poverty department?
Well, we got a big archive that needs a lot of help.
What? You have an archive? I love archives!
I recommend people to watch the 2012 Walk the Talk. And if you want to learn more about the history of the community, well, how the affordable housing was preserved and why is it still here, the first Walk the Talk was told the foundational of important stories that we all need to hear.
Watching the way that Hayk so masterfully created a space at the Lamp Arts program was really inspiring to me. Creating an environment where relationships could be built, where people could be honored with respect and in their dignity, and with a lot of fun while sometimes doing difficult things, like navigating the multiple different personalities.
Yeah.
That's nothing. That's easy. The more people that benefited from the space, the more people wanted to contribute to that space and support more artists.
So Keith and myself and a couple other volunteers, Ian, Kim, Burns, Linda Leigh, Garrison, and young Mia, we found Creative Eye, which was about
We just need more of it.
And then, of course,
Sir Oliver!
Oliver's gonna say,
I'm just a DJ!
I met Sir Oliver right off the bat, and we instantly clicked.
I don't really know how I'm going to help, but you're doing something real cool, and so I'll help you with that.
I took my dad to the first Bob Marley Day in 2015 to hang out in the park and dance to reggae music. Since then, I've supported Sir Oliver in producing every single Bob Marley Day and Jamaican Independence Day event.
I ask myself, what is it I love the most about all the things I was doing, and that came back to
Relationships with people.
people.
Now, the magic of everything here is the community and the connection. Now, when COVID hit, the question was, how do we continue the programs?
What are we
gonna do? So we were able to raise money for the hot spots. And, if all the people in Skid Row didn't have internet, then we went up to each of the different artists and we got them set up so that they could get on Zoom performances. They could do their rehearsals, and they can also do choir rehearsals and theater rehearsals.
Another way that we did that was create these arts packages. And we created the Skid Row art zine, which is really cool because that's still happening, and it's even super high-tech and fancy now.
Okay, so the arts map, that was the precursor of the zine. And the map came from an exhibition that happened in here called State of the Art Skid Row.
Part of the reason that I stayed so long in Skid Row was because of the friendships that I had made. I like being with people, and people seem to enjoy me and to want me around.
So many times reflecting on Skid Row as if it was a wound on the landscape of L.A. But that wound is also the site of its own healing. Now, if you have a cut somewhere, it heals right here in the same place. Now, sometimes you may need a little ointment, but the healing always comes from within. That's where it happens. That's true right here in the Skid Row community as well. And it's also true on an individual level.
What am I supposed to? Oh, yeah. Hey. Oh, my God. All right, I'm supposed to say something?
You're supposed to say something.
Whoa. Okay. This is crazy. That was amazing. I'm like very overwhelmed emotionally right now. This is beautiful. Thank you guys all for being here and for listening. I mean, yeah, it's so surreal for me because part of the whole, work that I've been doing in Skid Row for so long has been to make sure that other people get honored and other people get celebrated. So, yeah, it's a lot, and it feels good. So I love this community. I love everyone. I love the friends that I've made here, and especially the LA Poverty Department. So I hope you guys enjoy the rest of the parade.
This year, with Pastor Q, I opened the Peace and Healing Center in Skid Row. We can clap for that. Woo! Yay! Go, Ivan, go ahead.
Oh my God, it's been so beautiful to watch everything unfold. And it's been a poignant journey for me because I came to Skid Row as a person living houseless. I was on the street. Then I spent 3 years in an SRO.
That worked. After I made my way out of that environment, I realized that service was the way out.
Service is the way out of anything.
Through my journey, I realized what folks really needed is some healing. Pastor Q has been doing that work on the street for many, many years.
We got together 5 years ago when I started doing music at Pastor Q, The Road, Church Without Walls. And you'll always know where to find me on Friday nights. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it
it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Hit it. Knowing my time in Skid Row, a major thing that I found out came up on me, and that is how much privilege I have.
When you're suddenly the person being helped, your viewpoint changes, and your viewpoint of the helper shifts. It led me to empathy on all sides, and to understand that it's the heart and intention behind what people do that really matters.
It led me to want to have a situation in Skid Row where people could walk through a door with no security.
One of our major things is economic justice.
Lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on.
We are approaching art as an economic center.
How do we
Get the money in the pockets of artists in Skid Row.
artists? And I don't care if you're a professional artist or you've been touring for 30 years. You're going to make the same as the Skid Row artist does.
You know, I went to Jackson State University for music education. And I was just 20 years old. And I was home from college. My hometown was Detroit. And I started a musical group called
The Mosaic Singers.
Yeah, baby. You know, now I thought it was just going to be this small group of kids, you know, maybe ages 12 to 18. But oh my God, before I knew it, they had grown to over
100
Young people.
Oh, yes, and you should have seen them. They were amazing. They traveled all over the world. They performed in such spectacular places as the White House,
The Kennedy Center.
Singapore, Dakar, Senegal.
Fast forward, I decided to leave that career in Detroit and to come to Los Angeles.
My spirit crashed. I had to hit rock bottom, and I really hit rock bottom. I had an illness, and then I was sent out of my place.
I spent years beating myself up, and Skid Row came in the middle of that journey.
If you knew me then and you see me now,
oh yeah,
you know what a healing journey can look like.
yes,
I'm not just losing more than 150 pounds.
which is a lot.
But mentally weight, psychologically weight, forgiving myself and others.
The healing has to come from the inside. I learned that the only way to change the world is to be that change.
What I learned is that I'm happiest when I'm in loving community environments where I can create.
That's what we've been creating in Skid Row for years. The center is a space where folks can come in and continue with that creation. I founded the Freedom Singers before I began working at LA Can, and I always keep the good vibrations forward.
I'm picking up good vibrations. She's giving me excitation.
I had this crazy dream about a few organizations coming together to do something in peace and healing. I brought everyone together, and they were like, "You're crazy." And that was the end of the meeting.
Kayo, you're crazy.
You're crazy.
You're crazy.
No.
When this grant came up from the city, I was like, aha, now I can show them that I wasn't crazy. The requirements make it harder for smaller nonprofits, but I said,
I don't care. I know we're going to get it.
Yes, that's great.
So I pulled together the Skid Row People's Market, Yikes, which is another organization we work with, Polo's Pantry for Food, and the Rogue Hip Hop Smoothie Shop, and I said,
We can do this if we do it together.
Danny and I have been friends for many, many, many years, and now we're buying the Skid Row People's Market from Danny and his family. To see this store pass from a Korean-owned store to being a black-owned, being owned by a black-owned nonprofit is profound.
All around Skid Row, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
Kayo, Kayo, Kayo.
I'm really grateful for every soul present here. And I want to say that through my journey, I call it a journey to myself.
That's
right? But the journey to yourself and to heal yourself reveals the light to others that assists in their healing journey. And that's all we can do. You know, we say, can we heal each other? We can by healing ourselves and continuing to do the work and remind ourselves, I'm still learning.
Amen.
Right? Every day. I look around and I see the people here, and I think about different points in my journey where I met people in the evolution. And the most beautiful thing is this place. Y'all know Pastor Q, right? He's right there. I want to give a special shout out to Pastor Q, who is incredible, right? An incredible leader. But then also to all of you all, because what we do here is we say all of us are leaders leading each other. All of us are people learning from each other, right? This center is your center, just like it's my center. That's why I say it ain't Kayo's center. It's yours. It is open for you. We want to see you in here. We want you to tell everybody about it. But then most importantly, we want to develop what has developed in this space, which is an environment where love is first, right? Where we choose radical love. I tell people all the time, we celebrated our 1-year anniversary last year, and we've never had to call the police at this center. Last week, yeah, I'm sorry, thank you. Last week, and in that whole year, we haven't had to call the police. We've been able to, whatever happens, community says we got this together because we keep us safe in community. And I want to remind you that everybody you meet is better than you at something. And you better get to learning what that is. All right. Amen.
I'm the only child, and I grew up in the upper middle class neighborhood, kind of like the Cosby. My father was a banker, the assistant vice president and manager of Foothill Independent Bank in Claremont.
Now, my mother, she was a teacher for LAUSD, the Los Angeles Unified School District. And she was beloved by all of her students and the staff. And she was so determined to put me in private schools.
And so they let me go for my 8th grade year, Wilson Junior High. But I had too much fun, and my SAT vocabulary score went down because I wanted to fit in so badly. I was disciplined with a belt, and that never seemed right to me.
You tried to figure out what to do to not get beat. My first love was a domestic violent relationship.
When he actually slapped me in the face, I was like, no. Once it happened, it shocked me. I told him if it would to happen again, that's it. And it happened again, and that was it.
In the 90s, I was part of a girl singing group and a band.
My father, had a stroke, and he couldn't go back to work. He got diagnosed with bipolar disorder, with psychotic tendencies. I rekindled the relationship with my first love. I thought.
Well, we're gonna go away. We're gonna grow, experience other relationships, mature, and come back again.
We didn't agree with how we would parent.
I can never see myself raising a kid with this person.
No way.
So, we broke up. And then, I found out that I was pregnant.
Well, I had the trauma of my mother's death, the trauma of losing my father to the illness, and then the trauma of being displaced with my little boy. I finally got a job, and then 9/11 happened. Depression was everywhere.
And then he walked in, and I looked at him and thought, yes, Savior,
So,
Waymaker.
He was white. He seemed like the total opposite of my first love. He would meditate. He was a vegetarian. No, like me. He likes to eat fish, okay, well, he was a teacher.
What?
So, like my mother.
So on our first date, he came to my stand-up show, August 11th, 2002 at the Ice House in Pasadena. Well, a year later, my daughter was born.
The third day of Christmas, I was gonna get my hair done, and he said something like,
Go! You're a bad mother! And I, slapped him. He came after me, and I ended up in this chokehold with him on top of me.
So
this is how I'm gonna die.
Oh, Lord help me. Then I heard a voice, and it was the voice of God.
Turn your head to the right and bite as hard as you can.
I saved my life. That's what made him release the hold on me. I got up and called the police, and they came, and then they took me away.
Me! I spent time on Rikers Island. I got extradited to Linwood, and I was determined to stay there until there was an investigation.
There was no investigation. April 4th, I was released from court in LA with no place to go, no car, nothing. I followed someone to a shelter that night, and that's how I ended up in Skid Row.
Are you kidding, Lord?
Wait, I'm supposed to be acting here in Skid Row without an agent, without even my picture and resume?
The blessings about LAPD was that they paid actors.
No, LAPD, the Los Angeles Poverty Department, let's make that clear. Exchange program was for people from all over the globe who wanted to experience Skid Row. You can stay in an SRO. You can get involved with Los Angeles Poverty Department. You can get involved with LA Can. Because of that, I was able to get housing at an SRO. I went from the URM to the Panama Hotel.
God planted me in a most wonderful church in downtown LA. And I started programs that would bridge Skid Row with the loft-dwelling community. I did a few domestic violence awareness events at San Julian Park. They were amazing. The cries from the heart. And then I started doing, open mic night in 2012.
There was a lot of friction with us doing our open mic there, and we ended up at the Hayward. I was living there at the time.
The point of the open mic was to record everybody and then put it on YouTube. I didn't expect that people would reach out to me because they recognized a family member or a friend.
I've been looking for him forever. Oh my God, Morgan, can you just tell me how I can get in touch with him, please?
During that time, I planted it at the Lamp community with Hayk.
What impressed me the most about my time in Skid Row is learning about Biddy Mason.
This woman who couldn't read or write was able to accomplish so much that got me through so much. I was like, well, what's the excuse?
And I've been blessed to portray her in the Historical Portraits Project in Los Angeles Public Library, Central Library, on their big digital wall. And I have a one-person show that, well, it's a mixture of storytelling and spoken word, and it shares the miraculous story of Bridget Biddy Mason.
And I wrote a short film, and I wrote some books, and then here I am playing the piano, and Leob said to me,
"Hey, Lorinda, it would be great if you would join the choir."
And one of the first songs was, everything's gonna be alright, right? Everything's gonna be alright. Everything's gonna be alright. Everything's gonna be alright. Valentine's Day 2023, I got hired to be one of the choir program instructors.
LAPD offered me a job to host the open mic with Hayk that Hayk was doing at the Skid Row Museum, and I was like, yes. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Then LAPD offered me to host Skid Row Arts Festival, second year in a row.
I performed with the drama stage Qumran. I'm talking about Melvin Ishmael Johnson. He did revolutionary genocide.
I want to lead with love.
Yes.
If people offended me, I tried not to take it personal, because that's one of the problems of being a domestic violence survivor.
Even in domestic violence, I like to say I've been on both sides of it. I've been an abuser, because that's what that slap was. It's called reactive abuse. And that's why I really resonate with restorative justice.
Kevin Michael Key said,
It's the largest recovery community in the world.
People have had so much grace with me. That's Skid Row. And Biddy Mason planted the seed.
Come, Lorinda!
Thank you so much, Los Angeles Poverty Department. You guys are just doing the work. You guys have always done the work, just making sure people who aren't seen get seen and can create their own narrative instead of having to accept the ones that others put on them. And thank you for giving me a voice. And today you gave me a voice again. I have no words, but just keep up the good work and just thank you so much.
I'm just gonna I'm just gonna do me.
I was doing art, and in 2013, I won a scholarship to the School of the Art Institute of Chicago.
Everything was ready and flowing, and the next day they called. This is school admissions. You need to come in here right now. There's a problem with your paperwork, and it's a big problem. Your high school does not have a graduation date.
Who cares? I could get it, but my high school is defunct. How about if you were to help me?
We can't do that.
So the very next day, I was on my way back to California on the train. Now, I didn't want to spend the money on a sleeping car. So, what did I do? I stayed up the whole time and I took photographs. I loved it.
I landed in Skid Row. It was almost like an out-of-body experience. My first thought was,
Is this where all the black people are? What's going on? Is this all black people are about? Are we this broken?
It really hurt, like an awakening, seeing so many black people down there.
I get it. You have blessed me with so many talents and so many gifts. I will do whatever is required of me. Doesn't matter what it is. I will do it, no questions. I'm going to ask you for one thing, that you don't allow me to sleep on the street.
The next day, I had a bed at the URM. Yeah! And I stayed there for 1 month. You know why? Because I wouldn't give them, no way, I wasn't going to give them $210 for the next month.
I went to do volunteer work with Downtown Woodland Center, knowing that it was supposed to be a place where they help you get a room. Then I found out that you had to wait a year or two on their waiting list.
I met 2 other women who were really, really wonderful. And they told me to come back the next morning and I could get a bed. My friend Teresa McDonald and I, we were doing Set to Bake. And we were asked to cook for the Downtown Women's Center by Carlos, who was the chef. We cooked lunch and breakfast for 150 women every day.
I didn't like them yelling at the woman as they're in line and they were just slopping their food on their plate. So what did I do? I stopped the line and I said, "This is unacceptable."
These are not dogs, they're just like you. They're other humans. Let's treat them with respect and responsibility. That actually caught on, and we started to do that.
My first job was working in the streets. I was signing women up for housing.
As a member of the Residents Advisory Committee, I'm part of the Community Recommendations Work Group, which focuses on economic development for Skid Row, the Skid Row Action Plan. And we were called the miscellaneous group at first. I mean, they didn't even think about what we could offer.
When I first came to Skid Row, I could not believe that you did not have a grocery store, because every neighborhood has a grocery store.
Now, my group voted for 40% local hires. But I wasn't happy with 40%. I wanted at least 60 or 80%. I felt we didn't need other people coming from the outside. You know, we already have the people in the community who can do all that work.
I love being with Studio 526. I do my art there, with Hayk, who's amazing. Now Alice, who's also amazing. You learn how gifted, how creative, and how talented the people in Skid Row are. It's my favorite place because that's where my heart is. That's where I really got community. We had the best group of people. They felt what a healing space it is and how they could feel safe. I love ceremonies. I started doing this mandala where you put a blanket or a white sheet on the ground and then we build. Everybody brings something and then this beautiful image comes out. They all feel it because it's from the collective. You're not thinking about it, you're just placing. I always tell them.
Place it with care and more care. It's like honoring the earth.
When Skid Row Coffee was at the library, I did a ceremony when they opened up. And I was at the cafe one day, and this little girl asked her grandmother,
"Grandmama, why did they name it Skid Row Coffee?"
I have no idea. I don't know. They're drug addicts. They're alcoholics. I
Really?
don't know.
That's not true.
Oh.
Do you know anybody, any of your friends or anyone in your family that is sleeping on someone's couch?
Oh, yes, I do, yes.
Well, that's homelessness.
People would always say,
"Oh, those people in Skid Row, they're crazy."
They're just talking to nobody.
Here's what I learned by listening. People are talking to somebody who has traumatized them or who has done something to them.
when I walked through Skid Row, I don't care what time of night, nobody ever bothers me. But the men always say,
Oh, Miss Lady, please don't step over there because you don't want to trip over something.
here comes the queen.
Here comes the queen.
And I am thankful for being in the Skid Row community.
I am Skid Row.
And here's what I learned, especially when I was with the SRAP, okay?
Skid Row action plan.
Yes. They tried to say that this community was miscellaneous. That's the title they gave you. And it really upset me that everybody else had a title: interim housing, permanent housing, mental health. So it became community recommendations, which became economic and community development. And it's true, when I first came here and I stood on 6th and San Pedro is where I landed, I said, what? No grocery store? They had the ATM machines in there because I went in there with my friend Teresa, and she tried to get $20 out, which she did, and then it charged her $3.50 for getting her money out. Then the guy in the store charged her another $1 for using the machine. I was so pissed, and we talked about how to make Skid Row a viable community, one that everyone could be proud of, one that people could come through and be okay with it, not fearing to be here in Skid Row. And one was the grocery store. One was a barber shop with a school in back to train people here in the community to be able to cut their hair. Another one was a floral shop with a school in the back to make their own designs and have a cart out front with free little bouquet so people in the community could take one and feel good. Also a Japanese garden where they could go and do the sand, do their meditation. It was real important for us to have something like that. And also an art studio, a real place where artists could go and do all kinds of work and people could come in and feel good. Creative writing, poetry, whatever it was their heart desired. The community is the mothership. Yep. I said, what we need here is your money and your support. That's right, man. Give it up. Yeah. Give it up. Yeah. And one other thing, the reason why you come here is because you become a better person because the people here help you to become who you really are. Those are the angels, and thank them. Thank you. Now I'm done.
Came to Skid Row at 16 years of age. Because my mom was talking to this man. He called himself
Julius Caesar.
That wasn't his real name, right?
Julius Caesar.
Made an ultimate. It was about me. And I told my mama.
No.
Why would you tell me to do this? Leave him.
I thought maybe he's abusing her.
Mom, choose between me and him. She just stood there.
So I walked out, and I didn't see her for the next 5 years.
I was looking for help. I went to a teacher that I trusted, but she called Child Protective Services.
Dang, I should have never said anything.
I started tutoring and making $250 every 2 weeks. I gave the money to my brothers and sisters. They didn't know what happened between me and Moms.
I came to Skid Row. I couldn't go to the Union Rescue Mission because they wanted to prove that I was 18.
There was a lady in Skid Row who let me stay in her tent. After 2 weeks, she said,
"You too young to be out here, sweetie. You need a roof over your head."
I was still playing basketball, and I was still going to school, and I was trying to graduate. And I met my boyfriend playing basketball at Lafayette Park, and I told him about my situation.
Sometimes I would stay at Lafayette Park until 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, and then head to school and wait for the guy to come and open the door at 6. Then I would brush my teeth and take a shower.
I was couch surfing, but outside, I would go to different places, sleep on top of someone's building, sleep on in someone's tent, and stay up all night just walking around to keep myself going.
Eventually, I did wind up at Covenant House. I had a case manager who was really nice. Her name was Danielle Houston. Shout out to her.
Woo, Danielle!
You go, girl. I just graduated from high school when Kwani, my boyfriend, introduced me to Mr. Charles Porter from UCEPP.
We're going to do outreach in Skid Row.
I used to stay over there.
What? You used to stay in Skid Row?
We were asking people 30 questions around alcohol and other drugs. I remember reading these questions to a girl in St. Julian Park.
Have you ever seen drugs at San Julian?
No, really. That don't go on around here. You know.
And she just hands drugs
Thank you
to
very
someone.
much.
They give her the money. I'm looking at her and thinking, this is
crazy.
Are we both here right now?
But afterwards, Mr. Porter gave us burritos and $10 for volunteering.
What? We're going to get paid to volunteer? That's crazy.
Okay. He was talking about Yoruba culture. Wow. It blew my mind.
Every Wednesday or Monday morning, we will come into San Julian Park, play music, and get on the mic and just uplift and talk to people. Mr. Porter would be super excited to see us. We were having a really good time.
And that's when I joined the 3-on-3 basketball league, just so that we could be there during their practice time.
From doing outreach, I got hired by UCEPP. That's how I knew Kirkpatrick Tyler, the liaison for Skid Row, through the mayor's office.
Adelene, we're creating Project 100 to house women living in Skid Row who've experienced long-term homelessness, and we would love to have your input, your lived experience.
After they'd housed 100 women, they kept housing more, but they changed the name to
Housing Justice. Now, in helping create this project of 100, I imagine the position of peer
support specialist.
And a peer support specialist would be someone who's not just advocating for women or case managers or helping get her some housing, but someone who could share about the situations and our relations to each other.
I helped to create the program. Then I became a peer support specialist, and I've been working at Downtown Women's Center for over 3 years now.
I finally learned what a case manager goes through.
There's not enough housing, period.
There's not enough buildings. And when they finally find the buildings, then there are too many barriers for them to get into the apartment.
We want past rent receipts.
The person's been homeless for 5 years. A rent receipt?
You've got evictions on your name. Never mind an eviction, you've got a conviction. I have all these empty units.
I wonder why.
I have a studio that's $1,200, but you have to share a bathroom and kitchen.
What? It's so crazy. How was the answer create more shelters instead of lowering the rents? Yes. The solutions are so simple.
Lower the rent!
Make it so people get paid enough to cover their rent.
Build more housing! The case manager can't get too personal with them, but as a peer support specialist, I can say,
hey, what's going on? None of that. No. No hanky-panky, okay?
The first 2 years I worked here, we got 250 people housed. I was impressed with how fast we could get it done.
Yes.
Once the case manager finds an opportunity to get you in, they're like,
let's get this done this week. We're getting you in. Yeah.
I was still working at UCEPP when Sieglinde said,
It would be great if you went to college.
I wanted to be a psychologist, a therapist, and you can change someone's life by changing their behavior.
I transferred from LACC to UCLA to get my bachelor's. I graduate in June of 2024. My goal is to get my doctorate. My goal is to get my doctorate in psychology and then to open up my own street therapy practice in Skid Row, where I can meet someone wherever they're at, their tent, sit down, check in with them, address any traumas and stuff they may be facing.
When the Parks Committee was established, they voted for General Jeff as the chair, and they voted for me to be the co-chair. I was like,
I ain't got time. I go to school full time. I don't know if I can do it. But General Jeff said,
I want you to go to school and get an education and do your research that supports Skid Row. When you get older, you can say that I'm the one who helped you get there, because I believe in you.
We talked a week or two before he passed away, and I didn't even know he was sick.
Life can change in an instant. Don't put school before the people in your life. Make sure you make the time.
I always try to make time, and I always go to St. Julian Park.
And walk around
and say hi to people.
I just want to start off by just saying thank you to LAPD for giving me this award. I'm sorry, guys. I'm so emotional. Oh man. You're so sweet. I just want to say thank you. You guys really captured a lot of what I felt. I don't know. I started crying as soon as it started. I just wanted to just say thank you, and then also like anybody who's from Skid Row, like I was, and like I am. This place is a community, and you get to meet amazing people from here. And anytime, like, I literally can say I'm from Skid Row, and I'm about to graduate UCLA. And after I graduate, I'm going for my doctorates, because this is a place of community and connection. And every day that you guys wake up, just know that there's people out there that love you. You may not see your family every day. You may have lost a loved one, but there's people around you that look up to you. And also remember to share your story, because you never know how your story can impact the next person, okay?
Gary, where did you get those glasses?
I picked them up on 5th Street.
Whoa! They are menacing cool.
I bought a saxophone on Broadway, of course. And I could already play a bit, you know. I developed into sounding good to some people and to myself, too. You know, guys like you out there, you started to tell me, hey, man, Gary, you know, you sound great. And all these other organizations started to ask me to play.
Now, I used to play for money on the corner of Hollywood and Highland, and, well, a whole lot of people, they stopped, and they interviewed me. I've been doing it ever since.
I played piano as a kid. We were members of a Methodist church, but my adopted father was Baptist. He didn't like none of that.
No. And when I went to junior high school, I got into a band.
I was good.
Music always helped pick me up, lift my spirits. And art. I love to sketch.
Now, my mother, Auntie, she bought me this beautiful brand new alto saxophone. And her husband always complained,
Boy, stop making that noise. I told you to put that horn down.
Oh, I was learning to read music, but my eyes always went bad. So I had to wear these big, thick, old glasses.
I got a job working at Barksdale Air Force Base, the second or third largest Air Force base in the world. I was an X-ray technician, developing X-ray film in a dark room. My friend said,
Hey, Gary, why don't you get to the eyeglasses place on the base, and then you get some thinner lenses?
I went there, and they gave me some tinted lenses, which made me look pretty cool. Yeah. They look like shades. I wore those with my ROTC uniform.
I worked for Capital Bank, one of the largest banks in Louisiana, for 5 years. And then I was in data processing, and I was a peer leader, and I got to deliver bookkeeping works to banks out of town. It was really fascinating.
Now, I grew up in Cattle Parish in Shreveport, Louisiana. Yeah, it was a rural area. We all agree here. My neighborhood was called Rumble Road.
Well, my auntie, she adopted me, thank God. And she didn't tell me. Can you believe it? She never told me who my father was. However, my father was a guy who was living in the house right behind me the whole time, and I never even knew it.
Okay, so me and my adopted father, we did not get along.
Nope.
He didn't like me, and I didn't like him. Look, being adopted is hell, and I caught that hell for 36 years. But I'm mending.
Years after he died, I got the opportunity to move to California. I felt like the great escape. Back in the world. In 84, I didn't see nobody on the streets. When I came back in 88, damn, I saw all these people here by the courthouse living outside on the grass at night, all up and down Main Street. I couldn't believe it.
I'm stuck out here.
What am I gonna do?
I ended up being one of them.
It ain't no fun on the streets, and if you think it is, you are mistaken and you're only fooling yourself. You lose the whole concept of life.
And it really takes a lot of belief and a lot of help to get out of that position because your mind is locked. It's been stolen by the devil. It's demons, and you've got to free yourself from all of it.
It's a miracle that I'm alive. The streets are not nice at all. I did 9.5 years on the street before I discovered the lamp. To get help, you had to help yourself first. You got to make up your mind to go to these places to get some help. You can't just stay out there and die.
The most important moment since coming to Los Angeles was when I got off the streets. It was in 1999 at the Lamp Day Center on St. Julian. I finally got talked into getting some help by Molly Lowry, who started the program, and Miss Marie Tobias, a black lady that worked with Molly.
John Best worked there, and he bought me a sketch pad. I will never forget it.
I started doing sketches of comic book characters. Superman! I used to have a little comic book stand over on 6th between the alleys right there. And I started doing sketches of some people in the day center.
I got a job at LAMP, and they helped me until I got on Social Security. Well, and so I returned the favor. I cleaned up the center at the end of each and every day, and then they gave me a room with my own key. Oh my God, it was upstairs, and I cleaned the roof. And when I cleaned the roof up there, I got these wonderful perspectives, and I started to sketch buildings. Now, we had an artist at the Lamp. Oh, he was fabulous. His name was Rory White. He was a really good artist. And Rory said to me,
I like the way you do buildings.
Yeah.
The smaller you do perspective buildings, the more you get out of your canvas. not only perspective, but distance. You can put 1,000 buildings as long as they are coming from the back to the front.
Now, I paint a lot of faces. And, people say I have quite a distinct style.
Almost like a mask.
They have an African feeling to it.
Inspired by African art.
I've always been in Cairo, Egypt, and the Egyptians.
And
as a kid, I loved the Ten Commandments.
Walk like an Egyptian.
Yul Brynner was my favorite actor. He played the Pharaoh.
I'm not that good at making them look like a real person yet.
But sometimes.
I'm on my way. But sometimes, leaving it just like it is, you see more of that person.
My place is so small. I've got 5 saxophones.
I've got 5 saxophones.
I got 5 saxophones.
I got 5 saxophones.
I got 5 saxophones, and 3 of them need work.
Hey, in 2008, I built my own drum set. It's in a big case. Oh, it just takes up everything.
I've got flutes, I've got guitars, I've got a bass guitar, I've got a keyboard, I got a bunch of stuff.
I
just need a studio.
Yeah. And in 2024, I'm hoping my health will get better because I'm 71 years old. I'd love to live no longer than 91. If I could live to 91, that's enough.
But, lately, I've been doing several paintings of Jesus Christ. Now, I've done at least, 6 different types now? Because on Jesus' birthday, there were 3 wise men, and one of them was black. And that's what started me doing all these studies. I even did a Japanese Jesus Christ.
I always wanted to be known as an artist and a musician.
Yes.
So thank God for you guys in California. I got a reputation that I wanted all my life.
Before I leave this world.
Right, this really means a lot to me, and I thank you guys for coming out. Thank you very much. It's true that I was out here in 1999 where I got housing and stuff, thanks to the great people here in Los Angeles, California. And I would just like to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Derek!
I often hike before work from 4:30 in the morning till 6 in Pasadena on the border of Altadena. I just go up into the mountains. I do really big hikes on the weekend. I hike up, then I run down and watch the sunrise. That's my Zen space.
I really struggle with my addiction for a significant portion of my life. When I first got sober, almost 24 years ago, my view was narrow. Like, this is the way you get off of drugs. And with time and mentorship, I know that everybody's journey is different. Just love and respect people's journey and see them as the people they are.
My first outreach experience was in Skid Row. Most of the work that I did was in a new family outreach program in coordination with the Department of Mental Health and the Department of Public Social Services. And this is where I got my start.
I love
People.
I love
Working with people.
I love
Community.
I love trying to break the cycle of depression.
Breaking the cycle
of oppression, but you can't break the cycle of oppression. That's not possible. But you can walk with folks in their journey out of extreme poverty.
At the time, there were Section 8 vouchers for each family. It was a beautiful journey to walk with families as they went to shelter and got their vouchers and found places to live.
I came to Housing for Health in 2017, and the county's homeless initiative had one-time funding for outreach work. I was hired, and then Measure 8 passed, and we quadrupled the multidisciplinary outreach team.
Then, in 2019, I became the Skid Row coordinator at Housing for Health.
Housing for Health took on doing all the quarantine and isolation work and a lot of the COVID work with people experiencing homelessness. Dockweiler Beach had been procured by the Office of Emergency Management, but there wasn't any staff to run it. And we were really concerned about folks getting symptomatic in unhealthy environments, both on the streets and in shelters.
Our Housing for Health leadership went there as volunteers, and the first patient arrived.
We open tomorrow, Savannah. Tell me, what do we do now?
Well, Savannah, when you're feeling sick, you don't need to be out on the street.
Let's
spend the night and take her in. Yeah. We ended up working, 15 hours a day for the next month. It was a really, exciting, wild, and horrific experience all at the same time, for it was wonderful and terrifying.
I grew up in West Altadena. Redlining was not common.
And my family moved in the 70s. Oh, it was an amazing place to grow up. And I'm still in touch with families I grew up with. They adopted us. They became our family.
In fact, someone I grew up with, who I call my brother, ended up in Skid Row years later. He was my first connection to Skid Row. We found him and got him connected to resources and services. And he's doing really well now. He's a speak up advocate. He's pretty amazing.
I had a great family with a lot of challenges. My dad was a serial alcoholic, in and out of our lives, and in and out of stability. He had spent a lot of time in prison in Germany.
My mother was American, and she met my dad, and she fell in love with him in Germany. And they both moved back to the U.S. because he felt that he could not move forward in Germany with all that was going on. He grew up during World War II, and they were both outside of Stuttgart in a community that was severely bombed. And his family, they were just torn apart.
I remember thinking about how the sheriffs talked to my parents versus how they talked to my other family, the Kings. Oh, I started to see all that at a young age.
One of my brothers was horrifically beaten by the LAPD in the early 90s. It was the first time police brutality was caught on video.
That was Rodney King.
That opened my eyes, and I always walked through the world with privilege because of the color of my skin.
Folks are out on the street because of these traumas. Including my family and Rodney's brother Juan. Juan spent 25 to 30 years in prison, and none of it was for a violent crime. It was because he struggled with addiction, homelessness, and mental health. And every time he got out, he would be reincarcerated for violating parole and getting high and not showing up. This cycle wasn't broken for decades.
It follows you wherever you go.
The kind of jobs you can get.
The kind of skills that you have.
Accessory to housing.
All of it. You know, something that really bothers me is the othering of vulnerable folks that are drug users. They may be gang members, okay. They may be hustling, okay. But deep down in their heart, they are part of our community, and they absolutely love our community.
When we say they are damaging the community, we hurt ourselves.
True. Now, when we take away the most basic things that make people feel safe, well, survival can become a brutal thing. People are going to do whatever it is they have to do to survive, and it's going to look different for every person.
I love Skid Row. It is not a blight. It is full of wonderful, compassionate human beings with profound vulnerabilities.
Our work comes from what folks tell us.
Truth. It's about paying attention and building relationships and community.
Then thinking about how we can walk together as a community.
And it's to lift every person.
Yes. And the most important thing that we can do is to know that everybody counts in Skid Row.
There's nobody that's less worthy.
Sieglinde, you get the recognition from the Board of Supervisors as well.
I love you too. This is the most amazing place. And I'm honored to be part of this community, and thank you so much. I'm humbled, and let's bring us all to a place of thriving. We can do it together. All right. Thank you.
I said it's carnival time and everybody's having fun. I said the green room is shaking from one side to another. Everybody get together, we're about to sweat. Oh, because it's carnival time. Yeah, carnival time. I said carnival time and everybody's having fun.
I said, is y'all having a good time? All right, we are LAPD, and don't y'all forget it. Oliver is my father's name, okay? And I am Junior, okay? And I said, sir, out of respect, okay? So I became Sir Oliver.
I was born in the corner between New York and New Jersey via Jamaica. I was never good at anything. I tried to play an instrument. I just couldn't do it. I wanted to play a guitar. I write with my right hand. I play the guitar with my left. It was ridiculous.
My uncle, oh my God, bless his heart. He showed me how to mix without a mixer. He used 2 record players, and he was so good at it that he would just take the needle off one record player, and when the other one was ready, he would drop it. Then he would take the needle off, and he would drop it on the other one, and then back again, and then back again. Oh my God, it was so amazing. And you can only do that with vinyl. And that's why that tell me that's what makes me a
Vinyl junkie. I started to DJ in junior high. My homeroom teacher was a DJ on the weekend. I was a bad kid in class, so he made me stay after class. And somebody told me,
you stand after school with the DJ. He's a DJ.
I would walk from my house early Sunday morning to the radio station, 7 o'clock in the morning, just to meet him there and watch what he does. I did it for about 9 months straight. He said,
just go up there and drop these records off?
Oh, sure, you know, I'll watch the other guy and I'll just see whatever he does and I'll do it.
No, there is nobody else here to do that. You're the sub.
And that's how it started. I was on the radio.
The next thing I knew, I was playing behind DJs at the radio station, and I got into reggae music because I went up to Boston, which was a very big, reggae capital. I lived in Cambridge between MIT and Harvard. And the Harvard guy said,
We heard you play reggae. Could you come do one of our parties?
I got a name at Harvard. Then the MIT guys heard about me and invited me to do their party. Then I became the reggae DJ in Cambridge in Central Square between Harvard and MIT. And they wanted the
Reggae guy. And everybody said, go to California.
I came here. I wasn't going to come, but an agent talked me into it.
I didn't hear from him. I left messages with his brother. I got here. I called him and I called him to no answer. You know, I was here for 24 hours calling this guy, you know, and come to find out, he had left. He went back east. You know, I heard he went somewhere to like Athens, Georgia, and I had a choice.
Stay here or go back.
My father always told me,
nothing beats a failure but a try.
I didn't get it until I got older. So I did it. I slept on the bench at the train station, and the closest thing was Skid Row. I stayed. We were talking 10 years ago at the Union Rescue Mission.
I stayed in Skid Row there for 6 months. And Bob Marley's birthday came up, and nobody knew about it. I mean, really, nobody knew about Bob Marley. So everybody started telling me about this place right here called Gladys Park.
I grabbed all my equipment, borrowed somebody's boombox, got on the stage, and played for 3 hours. People go, oh my God, this is amazing.
Yeah.
This guy walks up to me. He goes,
Hey, are you going to be here next week?
I'm thinking, I'm going to be in jail in 20 minutes because of the noise. People here don't know me.
Well, why did you come here and play all this reggae stuff?
Did you know it was Bob Marley's birthday?
No.
I stayed at the Union Rescue Mission for 1 year. Went back on Bob Marley's day. Did the same thing over and over again. Somebody heard about it, told the people downtown. I get a call from Hayk.
City Hall has been trying to find you, and this was the only address that you gave him.
Yeah, I wasn't going to give him the mission.
I went downtown. They gave me a proclamation.
The city of Los Angeles is making February 6th
Bob Marley Day.
Woo! How are we going to make each year better? Everybody enjoyed last year.
Well, I got somebody to help you with this.
Clancy.
Oh, yeah.
Been my right hand ever since. She know more about this stuff than I ever will. I lost track of everything after 3 years.
We started Sir Oliver
Productions
Productions East, and the participants in Latin music and culture, which is salsa, merengue, cumbia, and all kinds of stuff.
Ba ba bum ba. Oh yeah. Ba ba bum ba. Ba ba bum.
I love to spin music and I love to teach people. That's the only way I could do it. Presenting a different culture, a different style, a different way. I believe that the end effect would be the same as reggae, the same as hip hop, the same as whatever other kind of music. I believe in enlightening people.
Juneteenth started as a wing in the prayer. About a year ago, Charles Porter came to me and he said,
I'm doing Juneteenth.
Jesus, it seems like you're the only one doing it.
I am.
And just a bell rang up. I go,
They're using Ethiopian colors for Juneteenth.
which relates to Bob Marley, which relates to Jamaican Independence Day. So everything was linked in together. Juneteenth is now a part of Sir Oliver Productions.
Yeah.
Now, really, I don't think I could have ever done anything that I have done if it was not for the help over these last few years of the people right here in Skid Row, the community spirituality. I consider myself a DJ, right? And, well, Skid Row took me from behind the scenes and put me smack right in front of the scenes. Oh, yeah.
I didn't want to do that, but that's the way it happened. And so many amazing things have happened because of that. All I can do is make you happy by playing some music that you might like.
And that's very important.
We need music.
We need to be happy.
We need a healing process.
And we need John and Henrietta to say,
Oh my God.
What's the problem?
Well, let's see if we can do something about that.
we need Charles Porter smack dab in the middle of Skid Row.
Yes.
Going.
We can't have all of this going on. There has to be a change.
Christopher Mack walking into everybody's spot from here to South LA saying,
I got you. I got you. Don't worry. I got you.
Those people, I see them.
I see them.
Could Clancey Connell come up here and speak for me? Because I don't do this. She knows it. But real quickly, thank you, the Skid Row community. Thank to all our sponsors, all our volunteers, to Clancey O'Connell and Ian Gabriel, who is Sir Oliver Productions, to Danny Parks, who came to this park with me almost 10 years ago with just my DJ equipment still on the stage and played music. And a guy came up to me and said, "Why are you here? You're going to be here next week." And I said, "It's Bob Marley Day." And to the city of Los Angeles for helping me making it Bob Marley Day here in Skid Row. And to you people who have supported me, and I keep hitting this mic, shows you how tired I am. To everybody who's been supporting me over the past 10 years, thank you so much. To UCEPP and Charles Porter, to Henriette and John and the Los Angeles Poverty Department and everybody, thank you. Thank you so much.